Hi, everybody. It's Abby here from Ask Abby. We are bringing you a great show today. If you were tuned in before, thanks for tuning back in. We are talking today about spring cleaning your finances. So, welcome back to Ask Abby, credit and debts show on finances, credit, debt, anything, answering any of your questions that you might have about your finances. So that's what we're going to do today. That's what we try to do every week. Last week, we had a great show with Jennifer Rodriguez. If you didn't have a chance to tune in, I know we've talked a lot about credit counseling and what that means. And we've even mentioned that it's free. So we talk all about that in last week's show. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. If you have questions about how credit counseling might be able to help you, that's definitely the show that you want to watch. So go back to last week and watch that show. This week, we're talking about spring cleaning your finances. So what exactly does that mean? Because of the social distancing that many states and even countries are have put in place right now as far as regulations go, a lot of people are spending their time in their homes cleaning. So our idea was, great, you've probably cleaned out all of your closets. You don't have any junk drawers left. So at this point, maybe it's a good time to take a look at your finances, dive in, see where you can make adjustments, see where you might be able to save a little bit more, and pay off your debt if that is possible. So that's what we're talking about today. The first thing that I want to dive into is eliminating or freezing your unneeded expenses. So what exactly does that mean? Right now, chances are you have at least one subscription to a streaming service. If you have more than one subscription to a streaming service, take a look and see which ones you use the most and which shows might be available on more than one if you're watching more than one show on multiple streaming services. Sometimes they do double up. So take a look and see if you can make it with only one streaming service. And also take a look at which streaming services are pulling from your account each month, and make sure that you know all of them that are taking money from your account every month. For example, maybe you were watching a show on a specific network last month and you signed up for a subscription so that you could watch the show, but you finished it and now you're not watching anything on that certain streaming service. So take a look and make sure you're still utilizing them. The other thing you want to make sure to do is take a look and make sure that there aren't any hidden subscriptions within your subscriptions. I know that might sound kind of funny, but some of the services like Amazon, you can get, you might have Amazon Prime, but then from there, you can even purchase subscriptions through Amazon Prime and be able to watch, like sports networks and different networks with specific shows that you might want to watch and you can't find them anywhere else. So make sure that there aren't any of those hidden expenses in there. That can make a really inexpensive subscription go from $10 a month to $15, even $20 a month in no time. So make sure you're utilizing all of them. The other kinds of subscriptions or expenses that you might be able to eliminate altogether or freeze are things like health and beauty products. So there are various different beauty products that can be sent to your house every month, things like razors, skincare products, makeup, things like that. So make sure that you don't already have a stockpile of those things because they send them every month and you don't go through them fast enough, but that also you actually need those things every single month. Or right now, maybe you can take a break from it and not actually need those things right now. And then from there, the big secret with all of this is once you go through and you kind of audit all of your subscriptions and you figure out which ones you need, which ones you don't, which ones you might eliminate or freeze, take those funds, write them down separately as you're going through this spring cleaning of your finances, and then reallocate those funds either to debt payments or creating an emergency savings fund. And we're going to talk a lot more about that. But when we're talking about credit and things that are being pulled from your account, chances are you have some automatic payments set up. if you have automatic payments set up to pull out of your account, now's a good time to go back through your last few bank statements and take a look and see which payments you actually know are coming out, when they're coming out, and do a similar type of process for those auto payments. And then from there, you can take a look at what your income looks like, whether you get paid monthly or biweekly or on a weekly basis, and decide when the best time to schedule those auto payments are. So if all of your payments are coming out of your account on the first of every month and you get paid twice a month, it might be worth figuring out if you can switch some of those payments to your second paycheck so that it's a little bit more balanced throughout the month. So take a look, create a long sheet of your automatic payments and see which ones, obviously your subscriptions will be included, things like car payments, mortgages, any sort of credit card payments that you might have scheduled. All of those usually have the option for auto payment, and it's a great idea, but make sure that you are looking at all of that and writing it down and actually knowing what's going in and out of your bank account. So that's a great first step. And then from there, once you know what all of your accounts look like, check your credit report. We talked about this last week with Jennifer, and one of the things I had a question for her about was, what's the big difference between checking your credit report and looking at your credit score and some of your accounts on some of those tools that you can download as apps on your phone, and then you look at the tool and it shows you your credit score and just a few accounts. So what's the big difference? The thing about your credit report is it shows you all of your active accounts and it's very up to date. So you want to make sure that your credit report is showing all of your accounts and not any extras, because what can happen is, especially right now when there are different scams and security breaches actively happening, somebody can get a hold of your information and open a line of credit in your name. So you just want to make sure that that's not happened to you and that you recognize all of those accounts that are on your credit report. Right now, if you go to annualcreditreport.com, and let me go ahead and just put that in the link here for you. Let me find that link. Annualcreditreport.com. It's in the comments for you. So go to annualcreditreport.com. Usually they provide one free credit report from each of the 3 major credit bureaus per year. Right now, they're offering one free credit report from each of the credit bureaus every week through the rest of the year up until April 2021. So that's huge. It's free. Just double check it. Even if you've already checked this year, Jennifer made a great suggestion, and she said, make sure you check it, your credit report, at least once a year, but right now you should probably be checking it more. So, maybe you check it while you're filing your taxes and you did that earlier this year. But if you looked at it earlier this year, it's probably a good time to look at it again, and just to be safe. And it's free. There's no reason that you shouldn't. If you need help looking at that annual credit report, give us a call. We can help walk you through it. And if you need anything like identity protection or anything like that, just make sure you call us. We have options for you to figure that out. So we talked about looking at your subscriptions and freezing or eliminating any subscriptions that you don't use, whether that's streaming services or health and beauty products or coffee subscriptions. You can get a subscription for anything anymore. So make sure that you're looking at your subscriptions. We talked about taking a look and mapping out your automatic payments every month, and then from there looking at your credit report. So those are 3 major things that you can do right now to spring clean your finances. But there's definitely more things you can do. And this is simple, and maybe you've already done this while you're cleaning out your house, but while you grab your mail from the mailbox and you walk in the front door, I don't know about you, but I have a catch-all right next to the door, and that's where all my mail goes. Whether or not I'm going to open it that day is a mystery. So when you're doing that, a great way to do that is just have a little filer or different type of thing and take a look right when you walk through the door. And rather than throwing it in all one pile, take a look, figure out what needs to be shredded, what's just junk, and then what needs to be filed. And put things that need to be filed in that basket and do that as soon as possible. That way you're organized, you have a system for all of your paperwork, and you don't end up with something very important at the bottom of that pile that you didn't get to in time. And, the last thing you want is to be late on a payment or something like that because your paperwork piles up like I know mine does. So make sure you organize your paperwork in those files. It's been very helpful for me. I'm sure it will be for you. And if you're home like most people are right now, it's a great opportunity to kind of take that. There are DIY stuff out there. You can create little baskets, little folders, little filers for you just to be able to do those just different organizational tactics. So we talked about eliminating or freezing subscriptions, checking your credit report, mapping out your automatic payments, and organizing your paperwork. Now, at this point, you probably have a pretty good handle on what your finances look like. If you're diving into your credit report and you're looking at your automatic payments and you know exactly what's being pulled out of your account when, now is a good time to automate your savings. You've already automated your payments. Now you can look at your savings accounts and go from there. You always should pay yourself first. I know that sounds funny because you're probably getting an automatic direct deposit, maybe into your account from your employer or any sort of other payments that you might be getting. But from there, the first thing you should always do is start a savings, allocate your budget, figure out exactly how much you can be putting into savings, and put that money away first. It's really easy to get caught up in your other bills and then a fun expense or an unexpected expense. And then the next thing you know, you don't have that money for savings. So that's what your savings is for, is being able to pay yourself first and knowing exactly how much you'll have in your savings every month. We also recommend having an emergency fund for 6 to 9 months of income so that if you were to be unexpectedly laid off or reduction in income, you have those emergency funds to pay your mortgage, buy yourself food, and any transportation costs that you might have to get to and from work, things like that. Those are the 3 things that we always want to make sure that we have. So that's food, housing, and transportation. Those are 3 big ones that you just want to make sure you have 6 to 9 months of in your emergency savings. A great way to start doing that is just allocating monthly and eliminating those extra expenses, and rather than allocating those expenses to something else, just putting them straight into that savings or emergency fund. Now, the big question is, what do you do if you have debt? Right now is a great opportunity, if you're already looking at your finances, to kind of get a strategy moving forward to eliminate your debt. So many people have debt. It's very common. It's not commonly talked about, and it's easy to feel defeated if you have debt, whether it's student debt, personal loans, anything like that. It's really easy to get caught up and just feel a little bit down about your debt. But the best thing to do is take a hold of it and get control of it, and then start allocating payments to lower it down. Some of the ways that you can do that on your own, there's 2 different strategies that sometimes we talk about. Those are the debt snowball method and the debt avalanche method. If you have questions on those, be sure to ask me. We'll dive into those at a later date. But basically, just from a general perspective, a debt snowball is paying down your smallest loan first so that that's all paid off, and then reallocating those funds once that's paid off, working up towards your largest loan, so that by the time you're working at your largest loan, hopefully you have a significant amount that you're paying that off each month. The debt avalanche method is similar, but you're going from your highest interest rate loan to your lowest interest rate loan and then paying those down from there. If you need further help figuring out how to get out of debt, and you might be struggling, please give us a call. We can give you a debt analysis. We have credit coaches who are available for you. So if you have questions on paying down your debt, please don't hesitate to call us. The last thing I wanted to talk about is these are all great things. They're great habits to be put into place. Some of the things that you can do is change if you have, not so great spending habits. Especially right now when everybody's home, it's easy to get caught up in online spending. So take a look at what's actually necessary. Close out your cart if your cart is full of stuff online. If you really don't need it, just don't spend it right now. Allocate it to your emergency fund or your savings. That way, if you really need it, when the time comes, it's there for you. The other thing is, it might be in the back of your head, or maybe you're not thinking about it at all, but so many of us pay too much for things. And there's a coupon or a promo code or something out there for every single item that will lower the price for you. So whether that's looking for coupons or figuring out, doing a price comparison. So many stores, if you find a lower price somewhere else, they'll price match, and just make sure that you're doing that before, especially before big purchases. You might be able to save here and there. So that's all I have for you today. We talked a lot about things. So if you have questions about how you can spring clean your finances, get out of debt, take a look at your credit report, anything like that, if you have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. The other thing I just want to make sure that you all know is right now, scams are on the rise, and specifically to coronavirus. So to prevent being a target or a victim of these scams, it's just important that you know about them. And we did a show on coronavirus scams 2 weeks ago. So make sure you go check that out. It's on the Facebook Live page. In fact, I will, after I get off here, I will just put the link in there for you. Just go watch that show. There are specific scams that we talk about that are really active right now. And if you know about them, then you're less likely to be victimized by them. So just make sure that you're aware of what's going on. And if you have questions, please let us know. Ultimately, we at Credit and Debt are just trying to give you the credit you deserve for your finances. So let us know if you have questions, and we will see you next week. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.